Good evening. Welcome to the Newtown Township Board of Supervisors for January 28th. We'd like to start with a moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you. Now we'd like to have a Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, that takes us to special actions. Are there any special actions? No special actions tonight? Okay, that brings us to our first round of public comment. Please identify your name and your general vicinity of where you live.
Meg Griffin from Newtown Library Company.
Joanna Hager, Newtown Library Company.
So we're on the board of the Newtown Library Company. And what we're here tonight is that we would like to see if there's a way to work on together supporting the Newtown Library Company. Newtown Borough has been a big supporter of the Newtown Library Company. And I'm not sure if you're aware of the Newtown Library Company, but a few facts. Newtown Library Company has been in existence since before the Revolution. In some of our charter documents, they talk about the commotion that was going on in the streets at the time. So we are one of the oldest non-public libraries in Pennsylvania. And we are a membership or subscription library. We get no funds from the state or the Free Library Company. And we get membership, which is $25
$25 for a family.
for a family, which doesn't begin to cover our costs. We are a purely volunteer-run organization, except for one part-time paid librarian. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about that about half of our membership are Newtown Township residents. And these people are things that come for story time, to use our reading room, to participate in other things, as well as membership. So we're more than just a collection of books. We are a historic landmark. The current building became a library in 1911. So that, in the grand scheme of Newtown's historic places, isn't really that old, but it's well over 100 years old. It's an educational space, it's a cultural gathering place, and most of our meaningful events and services are open to non-members as well as members. We believe in being a vital member of the community. Newtown Borough supports the library every year with a donation, and we are hoping that Newtown Township would be able to see their way to supporting the library as well with a donation. We looked at our membership, and as I said, it's about 50% borough residents and about 50% township residents. The borough and the township seem to have very similar income, median income, as well as the borough having about 2,000 residents, and it looks like the township has about 20,000 plus residents when I last looked. And I'm not sure of the accuracy of those numbers, but I know the township is certainly much larger. In addition to story time, books, free reading room, Wi-Fi, we also are an annual participant in the 5th grade walking tour for the local schools. So Chancellor / Goodnoe, I believe Wrightstown, I believe Newtown Elementary. Sometimes St. Andrews as well. So again, Newtown residents, Newtown families. Tonight we're not asking that you meet Newtown Borough right away. We would love that to become a possibility in the future, but we would like you to consider a modest investment in the resource that Newtown Township residents already use and benefit from, an institution that has served Newtown faithfully for over 2.5 centuries. By supporting the Newtown Library Company, you would reflect a shared responsibility, help preserve a historical and cultural asset, demonstrate commitment to education and community life, and ensure that this remarkable institution could continue to thrive for future generations. It belongs to all of Newtown, borough and township alike. Its story is part of our shared past, and we would like it to be part of our shared future. And with your support, we could hope to continue that. Is there any questions that we could answer for you? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment tonight? There'll be a second round. There's 2 public comments. At this point, we're not fixing with the agenda, so you can speak now or at the end of the meeting.
Hi, my name is Eric Pomerantz. I was just wondering, I'm looking at the bills list that you guys are going to consider tonight. And would it be possible, and maybe there's a way and I'm just ignorant about it, but is it possible to get a little more detail? I mean, having sat through some of the meetings about the budget and seeing requests for police cars and dump trucks, and I see in the bills list a lot of repairs that are going towards dump trucks or police cars. And it might be helpful to understand what kind of repairs, not just the numbers, but the dollars, but what the repairs are, which would then help people understand, do we really need a new dump truck or a new police car, or what's causing the need for all these repairs? Because it's thousands and thousands of dollars of repairs in the bills list tonight, and I'm assuming that it's something that happens when it happens and it comes to get reimbursed. So I'm just asking, is there a way we can get more detail on what those repairs are for both police cars and dump trucks, since we know that there's been a request in the budget for new ones, and it might be helpful to understand what's driving, no pun intended, the need for the repairs, whether it's just wear and tear or people getting into crashes or whatever. So I just wanted to ask about that, and I didn't know when the right time was.
Yeah, so this is public comment, so you're free to make your comments. We may address this in the future. Certainly, you can feel free to send us an email, and we can talk about it.
Okay.
Raise the issue.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, John Mack, law-abiding citizen, and I have my passport to prove it. Thank you for putting me on the Human Relations Commission. However, when I go on the website, I don't see my name there. In fact, there's a lot of things on the website that just don't work. For example, when I was looking for the agenda for the Planning Commission, up came the agenda for the Zoning Hearing Board last week for some reason. And there are many other commissions where their members are not listed. And until recently, the old Board of Supervisors were on the Board of Supervisors page. So I think the website needs to be better maintained, but especially, please put my name up there for the Human Relations Commission. I mean, I like to get some recognition here. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Any other public comment? Okay. After public comment, we now have minor approvals. With this, you, Dave.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This would, if the board is of a mind, be a motion to grant a certificate of appropriateness to Melange at 255 North Sycamore Street for exterior improvements conditioned on compliance with Harb's memo of December 10th, 2025.
Do I have such a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion from the board? Any discussion from the public?
I guess it's me again. So I'm assuming they've complied with the HOB requirements regarding the windows? Is that what is happening here, Mr. Solicitor? No comment?
Would that be a zoning issue? No, we're talking about.
That's
HARB.
correct.
We're talking about HARB approval right now.
That's correct.
Okay. That doesn't have anything to do with HARB approval.
Okay, I'm not quite understanding what you're approving, but does that mean they can go ahead with their work, I guess? They've had a restraining order on working on the project, I believe.
I understand it's based upon the satisfaction of the building inspector. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Any other comment?
Hi, how you doing? I represent Melange at Sycamore, and just to answer Mr. Mack's question, yes, the window, this HARB application does satisfy that the windows will be changed.
Could you just give your name, sir?
Bernie Sauer.
Okay.
That the windows will be changed out. I'm just waiting for this meeting to get done. I'm going to press send on my email so they can get delivered, and we can replace them.
Mr. Sauer, there were 4 items on the list, is that right? Could you maybe speak as to what those 4 items are?
One was the windows, obviously.
Continue to put you on the spot, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. I didn't bring my notes, but one was a railing, a bar railing that had to go up the steps, an electrical fixture for the outside, and
Pergola.
pergola. Thank you. Yes. That was it.
Thank you.
Is that it? Thank you.
Okay. We've had a motion, second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I believe that moves us on to reports. That would be from Planning Commission, Peggy Driscoll.
Peggy Driscoll, Chair of the Planning Commission. We met last Tuesday night, January 21st. Our first order of business was the reorganization of the Planning Commission. The members voted to appoint myself as chair, Craig Deutsch as vice chair, and Mayor Donaldson as secretary treasurer. We will retain Jerry Schenkman as solicitor. I don't know if that's our choice or not, but that's what we voted. Next, we had a zoning hearing board for MB Vet Management at 10 Friends Lane. The applicant is seeking a use variance for a UC20, a veterinarian clinic. The proposed use is an emergency hospital and surgical center on 7.1 acres, using 2,500 square feet of office space on the first floor. The business could expand to the second floor at a future time. It's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The applicant is also seeking 130 parking spaces where 300 would be required for the size of the building, and 1 loading dock, with the possibility of opening a second where 4 would be required. The members are very supportive of this application, as no similar facility is nearby. It will employ up to 83 people and offers no grooming or boarding. The members recommend that the board take no position on this application at the zoning hearing board. Next, we had an application for Stark & Stark at 2 Caulfield Place at Cricklewood Green. The applicant is seeking relief to install an identification sign that is 18 square feet, where 10.5 square feet is permitted, and have a height of 16 feet, where 9 feet is the maximum permitted. The commission voted to recommend that the board take no position on this application. The sign is to be placed in a recessed portion of the facade and is not visible from the street, only from the interior parking lot. Next, we had a minor subdivision for Robert and Martha Kiskett at 518 South State Street. The applicant is seeking to subdivide a 1.15 acre parcel into 2 building lots for single-family homes. The applicant plans to remove the existing house and 3 sheds.
One shed on the property is owned by SEPTA, and the applicant is working with SEPTA to move that. There's an existing easement for a shared driveway to the adjacent property. The easement belongs to the new owners, applicants of 518 South State Street, and the commission recommends that the new owners continue the easement and install only one driveway on the property. The members also recommend that sidewalks and curbs be required, and that the street tree be installed after construction is complete. The members voted to recommend that the board support the application, subject to these conditions and compliance with the reviews of our professionals. The engineer for this project has provided the Planning Commission with the recorded easement agreement as required. And lastly, we had the JMZO Bucks County Planning Commission signage discussion. We briefly discussed a presentation given at the jointure, but agreed to continue this after the next jointure meeting. And that was all we had. Any questions?
Yes, I have a couple questions. In regards to the Stark and Stark application, it looks like the sign that is being requested is almost double the size of what is permitted. Now, I just recall recently when the NAC had a sign that was not required, but they suggested to be approved, the zoning hearing board was very unhappy with the Board of Supervisors for not challenging that sign because that sign did not fit the requirements. Why do they want double the size, and why wouldn't we challenge this?
Well, I think our feeling was they're taking the whole building, which is empty. It's been empty. It's on the building. It's recessed into the facade of the building. The signage back there is, our sign regulations are pretty restrictive, and they're taking a whole building, filling an empty building, and we felt that to give them relief would be, would help their business.
Yeah, I understand that because they're filling the building, it's almost like we're giving them some sort of gratis to double the size of the sign. I don't see this, especially knowing the chairman of the zoning hearing board, who is pretty much a stickler for the sign ordinance, this passing, and again, for him to reprimand the Board of Supervisors for not even standing up to the sign ordinance, because if anything, we've always adhered to the sign ordinance, not depending on the size of the building or who's occupying the building. I think that we're just kind of caving in because they're occupying the building. We're giving them double the size. I disagree, and I would request that our attorney would show up and maybe defend our sign ordinance against this, because who are they to get special treatment? That's what I like. It seems like the Planning Commission wants to give them special treatment just because they're occupying a building.
That's the recommendation we gave. We felt that it isn't obtrusive on the building.
I'm just looking at the possible domino effect here. If we give it to them, what about the next, whoever it may be, law firm, doctor's office, that says, hey, I'm occupying the whole building, look what you did for Stark and Stark, I want the same thing. And what we're gonna end up having is, just saying tongue-in-cheek, that we're gonna have like billboards out there on the sides of these because we're gonna cave in for one particular business.
Well, ultimately, it's going to be the zoning hearing board's decision. This is the recommendation of the Planning Commission. We've been discussing, and Bucks County Planning Commission did a review of signage at the jointure. Some of our signage is very restrictive. The entrance to Cricklewood Green, you can't even read from the road the signs for the directory, and we felt this building is in the back. It's a very tasteful sign, and ultimately, again, it will be the zoning hearing board's decision.
Okay.
Phil, quick question for you.
Yes, sir.
So the NAC, was that on the building? It was sort of just right on the very back side of the
It
building?
was on the building. It wasn't, it didn't adhere to I think it was actually an additional sign that caused it to have too many signs. He's already, I mean, I don't want to get into the knack because he's already put a couple signs up there that were unauthorized and they've gone by. But the bottom line is that the zoning hearing board stuck up for our sign ordinance that we did not.
Right, right.
And that was the thing. Like Ms. Driscoll said, it should be up to them.
Right.
But at least what we should be doing is sending them direction in regards to the sign ordinance.
Right.
And when we don't, it makes us look bad that we're just letting this willy-nilly,
Right.
whatever signage that they want. And these signs, according to what I'm reading, are double the size.
Yeah. So I was at the planning commission, and if I'm not mistaken, the building sort of has a front, and then between basically above the first floor, at the second floor, there's a kind of a recessed area.
Yes.
And the sign is basically going into the recessed area. And then I think the gentleman who was doing it said that the size of the letters were sort of driving why the sign was as big as it was. So there's sort of a natural limit to, and sort of a natural space for the sign to fit into.
Yeah, no, I understand, and I'm not looking at this as they're not a retail operation that needs their sign to be seen from the highway, or from, I know Cricklewood, what's it called, Cricklewood Green, is that what it's called? They sit back. In my opinion, anyone that wants to go see Stark and Stark is not looking for their sign. They'll know where they're going. So why do they need these big signs? I have no idea. They're not, it's not like their Subway sandwich shop that they're advertising whatever the latest sandwich is, of which, when they did it, we had them take it down because they were violating the sign ordinances. So I just see if we don't either represent the township in regards to the sign ordinance, then we're basically saying, hey, just come in and just propose whatever signs you want. That's all.
Thank you. Is there usually comment? There's no comment on the, this is just for Peggy, yeah, thank you. No, there'll be comment at the end of the meeting.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Peggy.
Thank you.
Okay, next, members of the board, I'd like to say first thank you to the road crew, Joe, and the folks at Public Works for doing a lot of work for this recent storm. It's been a pretty tough winter, and you know they've been out in all kinds of crazy weather, working really hard to keep the roads clean. So I just wanted to say that. I'm also disappointed to find out I'm not allowed to drive the Bobcat, insurance reasons. And I also attended the Joint Historical Commission meeting. It was my first one. It was very exciting, very educational. I look forward to more. And that's it. I'll pass off to Ms. Merck, Vice Chair.
Hello, Newtown, Melissa Merck. I also want to echo Ed's words regarding Public Works. I know that the Public Works employees worked tirelessly to get the roads cleaned, and we appreciate that. I also want to thank the members of the public who heeded the instruction to remove their cars from the streets and stayed home as long as possible to give those employees time to do their jobs. And thank you also for your patience.
Thank you. And that would be to our treasurer.
I have nothing to report. Thank you.
Mr. Calabro.
Yeah, I would just like to congratulate the chairman on finding that the jointure was a fun time. I have to disagree, but if you're enjoying yourself, I feel good. I feel very happy.
It was a joint historical commission.
I feel happy. Well, it wasn't the jointure.
No, it's not.
Okay,
that's
then,
next week.
Then I'm glad you had a good time anyway. Thank you. That's all I have.
Excellent. Okay. And next public hearing, I believe we have nothing.
No public hearings this evening, Mr. Chairman.
And
Thank you.
land development.
No land development.
All right. Next, we have the consent agenda. Included in the consent agenda, considering the minutes of the January 14th, 2026 meeting, consider paying for January 2028, 2026 bills for the amount of $296,195.30. Transfers in the amount of $14,228.89. Additionally, authorizing the purchase of a boiler for the administration building in the amount of $58,000 $58,500 from Worth and Company through CoStars, which is below budget, and also authorize the purchase of a control panel replacement for the police backup generator in the amount of $21,008.41 from Penn Power through CoStars, again below budget, and also the AOP financial security release. I have a motion to pass the consent agenda.
I'll make the motion.
A second?
I thought you said, I'll second it.
Thank you.
I didn't-
Sorry, I
thought
was
you
asking
said
for,
second.
I did. I did not complete my sentence. Thank you. We have a second. Any comment from the board? Any comment from the public?
With regard to the consent agenda, I really don't consent to the consent agenda. I think some of these items need to be discussed individually. I know that when I was, for example, the bills list, which Mr. Pomerantz was talking about, we don't know exactly what all these bills are for. Now, some of them might be interesting, like the $53,000 paid to Barry Issett, I believe. We don't have any opportunity to make comments with regard to that. So I don't think all these items should be within this consent agenda. It seems to be a place where you can put things without having any comment at all about some of the items on here. I thank you for saying something was under budget, but that's the kind of information that people would like to know. And you didn't have to say that, so thank you. But those items do stand out, that maybe there should be some discussion and a vote on some of these individually. And I know that under the law, any member of the board can request that an item be removed from the consent agenda to be voted on independently. And I think as the assistant treasurer, for example, Mr. Davis, could maybe take the consent agenda, the bills list out of there and kind of mention some of the extraordinary or interesting bills that have to be paid so that the township knows exactly what's being paid. Now, I know that the bills list is in the back of the room. A lot of people in the township don't realize that. I know that the bills list is also available on the website. And like I said before, some of these things are very difficult to find. So anything that increases the discussion of specific items would be welcome, and I think the bills list is very important in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mack. Any more public comment? Hearing no public comment. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say nay. Motion, consent agenda passes 4-0. Okay, that brings us engineer report. I believe there's no report tonight.
No report. I'm happy to answer any questions that the board might have.
Any questions for the engineer? And I believe that takes us to our solicitor's report. Mr. Solicitor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The lone item on solicitor's report this evening is whether the board wishes to take a position in front of the zoning hearing board on February 5th. There are two applications. Both were recommended as taking no position on the applications by the Planning Commission. One is the sign for Stark and Stark. The other one is the veterinary clinic. Does the board wish to take a position on either of those?
I'd like to make a request that our solicitor sends a letter, not necessarily has to show up, in defense of our sign ordinance for the Stark and Stark issue. As a matter of fact, I will make that motion. Do I need a second, I guess?
I'll second it.
Any comment from the board? Any comment from the public?
Thank you. My name is Larry Grant. I live on Autumn Drive. My wife and I were notified of this variance request because our property is contiguous with the property in place. The southern border of our property, which is the rear border of our property, is attached to what used to be known as the CAU track and is now the Cricklewood Green Office Park. I'm very familiar with the park. I'm very familiar with the signage that currently exists and the signage that's in the area. As you go into Cricklewood, there is a sign right at the beginning that has small signs about each of the tenants that are there. As you go into the buildings themselves, and this is number 2, Calder Place, it has a sign that now says Stark and Stark. Before it said CAU. It's a sign, it's probably about this big, etc. If you go on Stark and Stark's website, they list 2 Calder Drive as one of their office locations, and anybody that's competent in using Google Maps or any mapping program like that could find their way there quite easily. Okay, I don't think people are going to be lost finding their way to the street address or to the building itself. Is a problem. The ordinance itself, as pointed out, is fairly generous on the size of signage. Okay, they're asking for a significant increase in not only the square footage of the sign that they're asking for, but the height of the sign. If I am understanding this correctly, they are asking for a sign to be installed 16 feet high. Now, to Calder, the front of the building faces in a northern direction. It does not face Lindenhurst Road. The side of the building does face Lindenhurst Road. Okay, and yes, the building is set back from Lindenhurst Road. But to me, this sign is not only a huge extension and a slippery slope of the current sign policies of Newtown Township, but it also represents advertising. This is an advertising sign. This is not a, here I am, since you're coming to do business with me, here I am. This is clearly intended to provide advertising characteristics to the sign and for the benefit of Stark and Stark. Now, I would support a motion. I would encourage every member here to vote for a motion that the Newtown Township would direct their solicitor to oppose this variance at the upcoming zoning hearing board meeting. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So the current motion is for our solicitor to
Send a letter to the zoning hearing board in defense of the sign ordinance, obviously in opposition to the application.
Okay.
And could they then come back with a smaller sign?
Well, they'll just have to follow the ordinance and
Well,
do it
they'll
according to
still go
sign.
before the zoning hearing board. Zoning hearing board will make a decision. If the zoning hearing board grants relief, they'll be able to put up their sign. If the zoning hearing board denies relief, they'll either have to come back with a complying sign or file another zoning hearing board application for lesser relief.
Okay. All in favor of such a motion, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That concludes our report.
What about the vet?
I didn't hear any. I apologize.
Oh.
You're right. Does the board wish to take a position on the veterinary clinic?
Nope. Okay.
Hearing crickets. That concludes our report.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The general fund balance this evening is $5,594,219. The plan expiration is before the board with no action required. This evening, we have Chief Forsythe to give them a monthly emergency services report. Evening, Chief.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to winter. It finally arrived, right? It's my pleasure to report for the month of December 2025. We responded to 184 calls for service. We completed 193 fire safety inspections in Newtown Township, 6 UNO inspections, 5 fire alarm inspections, and in Newtown Borough we completed 42 fire safety inspections. Our highlights for December, our biggest highlight is we brought Santa Claus to town. We spent the day traveling Santa all around town, so that's a highlight for us. We did have one working house fire on 532 up by the Village Market. Unfortunately, the house had to be demolished, so the outcome of that wasn't what we were looking for. Our biggest highlight was on December 16th. Several of the members from Newtown Fire Rescue attended the graduation ceremony for the training center, where the Fire Association had 4 new volunteers graduate from the Fire Academy. That's our highlights for December. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
That's all we have under our report, Mr. Chairman.
Just a request of the manager, if you could repeat the general fund as of tonight, because I know in the past, doing the budget, it was suggested that we would take some money from the general fund, and I understand the end-of-year general fund is different from what you're going to mention right now, but it fluctuates during the course of the year. Is that correct? Is that a correct assumption?
Did the balance? Yes, the balance.
Okay. And today, at the end of last year, our general fund balance was, I'll say, approximately 1.5 million. Am I correct?
That was the projected fund balance.
Okay. So, I mean, we could have taken maybe 2 mils, the equivalent of $600,000, to pay down 2 mils of taxes, which was voted down upon not to do. But now you're mentioning that today, as of today, we have over $5 million in the general fund, of which my explanation would be there really was no danger to our general fund if we were to pay down a couple bills of taxes instead of going ahead. But, I heard all kind of things bantered about for deficit spending and this, that, and the other thing. But again, as of today, we have $5 million in that general fund with, again, the assumption that it will go down because we will spend money, we will pay things. So the ending balance of 1.5 is no indication of what our general fund is during the course of the year. Is that correct?
So let me back up. So the projection at the end of last year was $5.3 million.
Okay.
Currently, the fund balance this evening is 5.6, roughly.
Thank you.
That number will probably go down because we are still paying bills from 2025.
And understandable, but again, last year's ending general fund is not any indication of us going, below 10% or 8% or whatever. Actually, there is no requirement. We set the requirement.
That's correct.
So we can use that money, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is the general fund money that the taxpayers of this township contribute to, or?
Partially, yes.
Okay, so it's their money. So it's our job to use their money wisely. But I guess the last budget's go around, it wasn't determined that way. But again, that's just one man's opinion, and thank you for clarifying some of that stuff.
Okay, that brings us to our second round of public comment.
Hello, it's Eric Pomerantz again. I was just wondering, is there an update on the status of the fire service agreement between Newtown Township and the Newtown Borough? What is the status? Well, then where are we? My understanding would be that there currently is no agreement between the township and the borough, correct? So what does that mean if there's a fire in the borough? Well, I would assume that if there's a fire, Newtown Township would respond. So then what happens? If there's no agreement, what happens?
So, not to get into a discussion, what is currently in place is that we will respond to any 911 emergency that is life-threatening, generally. If we are not performing inspections, we are not performing life safety inspections, certificates of occupancy permits, or any of those types of inspection, non-life-threatening services that were provided are cut off until there is an agreement in place.
Is there a negotiation taking place, or are the parties simply not talking?
We've heard nothing from the borough.
Now, the last time there was a meeting, the solicitor was instructed to send a letter to the borough outlining the services that were not going to be provided because the agreement had expired. Has that letter been sent? And was there a response? Thank you very much.
Any other public comment?
Good evening, Board. Dennis Fisher, Nob Hill. I just wanted to thank, I was waiting till last to make sure everybody did, but everybody did thank the Public Works Department for, and all of our first responders for being out there in the very nasty weather and taking care of our needs. I did get one complaint about a cul-de-sac being done late in the process, but I was able to say, you don't have to call me anymore. I did refer it and let them know that I think cul-de-sacs in general are done towards the end of the snow removal process. But thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment? Okay, hearing none. Other business, we have a motion to appoint Mary Donaldson to the Historical Architectural Review Board for a term of 4 years. Do I have such a motion? Do
I'll make the motion.
we have a second?
Second.
Any comment from the board? Any comment from the public? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 4-0. And with that, I believe we are done. Thank you.